Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I received from the 25th dimension during my last hypnosis session. This was a qhht hypnosis session, so in person with Carolyn. Before we move forward, I'd like to ask you though to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and do give this video a thumbs up. If you could, it really helps me. And do leave me a comment below to let me know if the stuff resonates with you. I'm always curious to hear where everybody's at, and or just stop by and say hi. It all works. It's all good. All right, we're going to move forward here. I'm going to start reading from the transcript. And when I refer to Carolyn, I'm talking about the hypnotist asking the questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I say me, I'm referring to myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from a 25th dimension. And before I start reading, I have to tell you, if I ever do a list of the top questions that they laughed at, or that where they laughed at me, where the 25th laughed at me, this question definitely takes the prize because they were hysterical during this question. They were so hysterical that they started singing. This has never happened before. So yeah, check this out. I'm still laughing when I read this thing. All right. So here was my question. Carolyn, will we have music on New Earth, and will it be the music of the cosmos? Sorry, guys. You know why I'm laughing in a moment. Me. They were cracking up here. They started laughing hysterically. We're laughing, so they're trying to contain themselves so they can answer. We're laughing because Clea is hilarious. So she thinks, and then they have to stop to laugh some more. So she thinks that, you know, the angelic music that we hear here, she thought, oh my God, that is so boring. And yes, I did. I was a little concerned about this. So we think that's hilarious. And we're going to have a lot of laughing because of this, because of the stuff that people expect to have on New Earth, because we just don't have the conception here of the fact that we can do anything. So yeah, we're going to have, there are people who are going to want to have hip hop, and they'll be able to have hip hop. It's not going to just be angels singing. Oh, cracking up some more. And I'm cracking up just from the fact that they were like imitating angels singing. So it won't just be angels singing all the time. That would drive some people crazy. And they had a belly laugh here. I don't even know. I mean, it was just hilarious, this entire exchange. So just wanted to share with you, so you know what I have to go through with these things. Jokes apart, we do have a good time, and this is it. It's very real. It's not like you know, this unapproachable 25th dimension. I mean, it's us, right? There's a reason we're like this here. It's just us. All right, Carolyn. In that same vein, will we have hobbies? Me. Yeah, we're gonna have whatever we have here, but we're gonna have access to millions of other things. Basically, our only limitation is going to be our imagination, and imagination is unlimited. So by default, we're not going to have limitations. Carolyn, Clea thinks, as you already have, that you will, you know, have a good chuckle and laugh. And you were laughing some more as she was saying this, because, you know, I'm always a good subject of laughter. It's okay. I don't mind. So she thinks, as you already have, that you will have a good chuckle and laugh about her doubting this whole process. Because, and I've said this before, because I tell you what's going on with me. So you don't feel that when you're doubting or questioning or whatever it is, it's just you. I mean, we all feel the same way here. We're all dealing with the same thing, and it's a lot to take in. And so I was doubting. I've told you before, that's why I question everything. And I'm always saying, you know, okay, we're given a timeline, but it's what it is. However, something switched for me this past week, about a week ago, and I'm not doubting anymore. And I'm not saying that you should stop doubting. I'm just saying that something did switch for me, and they explained what happened. So when I wrote this question, I was still doubting. And this is why I wrote this question. But they're referring to the fact that I'm not doubting anymore, which I was already aware of. So, but this is interesting, the reason why this happened. So that's why I want to read it to you. So you're going to have a good laugh about her doubting this whole process. Me. Oh yeah, she's done. She's not doubting anymore. Finally, something clicked there, and she's ready, because we're done now. Now she's had a chance to focus, and yeah, now it's just a shoe-in. We're ready. And basically the reason they're saying this is because, again, the energy, and if you've seen my previous video, you know what I'm referring to when they showed us that the energy has settled. So we are done, we're on vacation, and because we don't have to push in so many different directions, like for example, as one of 12,000, you know, you're building up here, you're propping this up, you're taking this down. It's like controlled demolition, which is much harder than just building something from scratch or taking it down. So you have all this stuff, all of us, no matter whether you're 1 or 12,000 or not. I was just giving you an example. So all of us are doing so many things, it's hard to focus. But because now the energy has released, a lot of us are having actually the opportunity to just relax and take a breath. And because of that, things are just being absorbed that much quicker. And this is what happened for me. It was like a switch, like that, which is what they always talk about. It's a switch. Carolyn. And so then once she's there, she will remember, and she doesn't need any proof. She'll know me. We will all know. I mean, it will be right in front of our eyes. And they were laughing. The fact that we can change anything. We're going to see something and we're going to think, oh, that's what it is. And within the second that we think that's what it is, we're like, I wish that tree would look different. And the tree changes shape. And very quickly, we're going to be like, oh, look at that. It's like magic. I have magic now. And that's literally how it's going to feel, that we are magic. Carolyn. So then, as the embodiment that will inhabit new earth, will we all remember and know the takedown and the move and all of that to new earth or on new earth? Will that be a memory that we keep with us for learning? Me. It's not just learning. It's part of who we are. So why do you remember that you had breakfast with a friend 2 weeks ago? You just remember you did that. And so it's literally, we're just going to remember everything. So of course, we learn from our experiences. If you had breakfast with your friend 2 weeks ago and she was 30 minutes late and you were upset, you remember next time maybe to plan accordingly. That's all. So of course, we learn from things, but it's just a memory. Now, it doesn't mean we're always going to be all chirpy and happy that we took this down. So we're going to have, it's just like our normal life now. We're going to have good days and bad days, quote unquote, in the sense of we're going to have days when you're more nostalgic and you'll be like, man, I can't believe we screwed up, because this is going to be apparent to all of us. We're going to know exactly what we did. There's not going to be a veil. We're going to know everything. We're going to see everything. So that means you're going to be seeing some of the stuff that the dark has done as well. It's all part of integrating things that we want to shield ourselves from today, that we want to ignore. You're going to see what we've done to the animals. You're not going to be able to hide from that anymore. Pretend it's not happening. That's going to be tough for a lot of people to be like, oh, I participated in this. I was supporting the system, and not supporting as in I was even donating to it. I was literally, I wanted this to happen, because that's what it is. Anything the dark has done, and we like to think is so separate from us, we have wanted them to do. This is what is so hard here to understand. We are one, which means everything that's happening is happening under your watch. It's happening under my watch. I'm letting it happen. I want it to happen. This is going to be very hard for us to calibrate, or to integrate is the better word. So we're not going to have, not every day is going to be fantastic. We're going to have a lot of excitement, of course, because of all our new powers. There's going to be a lot of work that we're going to have to do to integrate. And so every day is going to be different, just like every day is different here. And I have to tell you guys, I've been dealing with this for a while since they told us this, and I feel it. I feel that because one thing is knowing that certain things are happening in the world, and some, and another thing is to actually be able to see them and actually feel. We're going to feel even the feelings of the animals being tortured and all the stuff that's been done to everybody. And I have had a really hard time with this. Now, it doesn't mean that necessarily everybody has to be working on this on New Earth, but we'll see what happens. But here's what I do know, is that one, we didn't mean to, like, these were truly mistakes. And secondly, that there's a reason we have chosen, and we're such a small group of people who has chosen to go to New York, because we can take this. We prepare for this. So I'm not worried about us. I know we'll do great. Carolyn, will Clea be able to communicate with you like she does now? Or what will her connection look like? Me. Everybody's connection is going to be, first of all, if one person communicates, we all communicate, because there is no veil. Between me and you, for example, Carolyn, if I'm thinking something, you're thinking it. You'll know exactly what I'm thinking. We are one. That's exactly how it is. If you're feeling something, it's almost like you were feeling, you had jammed your toe today, and I could feel it. I could feel my toe being jammed. That's how one we're going to be. One. And so we don't have to explain things to each other. We already know everything. So in that sense, communication, if Clea's communication, we're just saying Clea, but everybody will have communication. There are other people who are going to be on the earth who already communicate with us. Everybody's going to have it. So how is it going to be different? If it's that it's going to be, because we're not going to be focusing on the solid planet anymore, we're going to be basically connected, like Clea is connected at all times. We are all connected at all times, but Clea is aware. The difference right now is that Clea is aware of being connected all the time. She can come to us in a second. And the moral of this story is that, as usual here, we doubt ourselves, we block ourselves, because we're playing whatever game we're playing, whatever experience we want to have is what we're having. And so, yeah, we're always all connected, but then, 1 second in a switch, you decide to have a different experience. All of a sudden you're chatting with the 25th, like I do. There's nothing special to that. We're all connected. We're all on the 25th hanging out right now. So that's why I wanted to leave this in here. I thought it was important. Carolyn. So with that said, Clea and I were discussing earlier that many levels of individuals will come to New Earth, those that may not be as aware or connected as she or I. Will they be able to have all this instantaneously? Me, yes. Now, knowing something instantaneously is not the same as with your feelings, integrating that knowledge. So just because I know, in fact, I might see things I've done, I might see things you've done, I might see things somebody else has done, and I might have to wrap what we consider here wrapping your mind around it. Really, it's integrating, is what you're doing. So just because you know something instantaneously doesn't mean you're clear. You're like, okay, great, done. There's going to be a lot of work going into that. This is also what we refer to. We're going to have what we consider here some bad days, which could be months, could be years, depending on what you're working on. What if it becomes apparent to you what really was done, and you are going to be able to focus and actually live, feel what the creatures that have been tortured here, for example, have felt? What if that's what you focus on working on? How long is that going to take to clear it? So just knowing something does not mean that you balance it immediately. This is why, in that sense, we are not going to be bored for a long time. We have a lot of integrating to do. Carolyn, that is almost no words for that. You said that everyone above 3D consciousness will be allowed on your Earth. Does that mean that we will not have 1D or 2D consciousness like the fairies? Me. Yeah, we will, because it's not a matter, again, this was a limitation from 3D. We think that they are below us. They're not below us, and therefore, actually, they have a consciousness where they're just happy, meaning they don't have a limitation in how they think of the world. We have a limitation here. So when we refer to certain types of consciousness, we're really talking about certain types of awareness. And gnomes and fairies, they do have the awareness where they can be on your Earth. And we can, of course, manifest anything there. But if they want to be there, they can be. We're referring to humanoids, what we consider humanoids, because we like to believe in the game being a certain way. And because of that, it's not just that it's not going to be allowed, but they also wouldn't want to be on your Earth. Because basically, it's almost like you being in a group where everybody believes in 3D. You would feel like a fish out of water. You wouldn't even be able to talk with these people. You're thinking you're crazy, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, guys, it's no fun. But for fairies and gnomes, they have fun all the time. They have magic, right? Fairies have magic, so they already know how this works. All we're going to have on your Earth is basically, we're going to have magic. Carolyn. So will we be able to see them? We don't see them here on Earth now. Me. Yeah, oh well, we will see them at that point. We'll be open to anything that looks weird. And I mean, we, in terms of people who live here, you know, who think that fairies are weird. Oh, you can see fairies? You're crazy. You know, that's what I mean. On New Earth, we're not going to think that's weird. And yes, we're going to have fairies. Many people are going to want to have fairies. Claire wants to see fairies. She hasn't seen fairies yet. I know my daughter wants to see fairies for sure. I can tell you now, she pretends she's a fairy every day of the week at home. And that is very true. And I do want to see fairies. I'm really curious. Carolyn, I'm sure. What are some of the rules of the universe that we will follow on New Earth out of courtesy for the other civilizations? Me. So we're going to have manners, just like you have manners when you go to somebody's house or you receive somebody at your house, okay? So things that you might not do when you're home by yourself. So we're going to have, when they come visit us, we're going to be very welcoming, like we won't need to eat, but we'll make sure they're comfortable. That's a rule, right? It's a rule of hospitality. So we're talking about things that we know are making people happy and that really don't bother us. They're not changing our way of life. And so, for example, we're going to believe, the first rule we're going to pretend to believe is time. Because, you did this 10 years ago, you're 800 years old, okay. You know, because again, it's a good reference point. There's nothing wrong with the idea of time. It's a good reference point. It helps us explain things, even for us, from our perspective. When we explain about us, they're going to want to know our names. This is how we recognize each other. It's just convention, right? It's an agreement. It say that I have a name, you have a name, even though on New Earth, really, we don't even need to have individual names. We're not individuals. We're going to pretend, you know, to use names, to believe that everybody's separate. We're just going to play the nice people where you don't want to. We're talking about this. You don't want to be a party pooper. You don't want to be telling them, you know, none of this is real. You guys are all one and we're all source and you don't have to use a ship to come here and that kind of thing. We're not going to do that. We're going to be very courteous. We're going to be, the best way to describe this is we're going to be respectful of where other people are at. So this is what we mean when we respect rules. Whatever rules they have will be like, okay, that's fine. It's like when you go to somebody's house. If they take off their shoes in the house, you take off your shoes when you come in. Doesn't mean that you have to take off your shoes in your house, but you're respectful to what the other people will like, because to you, it's all the same. It doesn't matter whether you take off your shoes or not. It doesn't. And I have to tell you guys here, just a quick note where they say, even though in New Earth, really, we don't even need to have individual names because we're not individuals. This gave me a lot of food for thought, because it's very hard for me, at least, to separate the fact that we're going with our present realities, our present histories to New Earth. And yes, we're going to all feel each other, and any work I've done will be absorbed by the collective and vice versa. Everybody in the collective will have had experience I haven't had, and we will all grow basically by leaps and bounds because of that, because it's like having 3.5 million lives that all of a sudden you're drawing from. And so that's wonderful. At the same time, again, this dichotomy between the fact that we still have our personalities, talents, aptitudes, et cetera, and the fact that, or propensities, I should say, and the fact that we are a collective, it's really hard to draw the line for me there. So, you know, where we act as a collective, where we act as an individual. For example, when I go visit, say, my mother and brother on an alien ship, am I showing up as a collective? Hey, I'm the collective. That's what I mean. I have so many questions. You guys know I have a million questions. So if you have any explanation for this, any help for me to understand this, please, send it. Please comment below. Let me know. All right, Carolyn. You told us that on New Earth will not procreate the way we do now. How will animals procreate? Me. They also will not procreate. So if an animal does want to, because we don't even have NPCs, it will just come in, just like the children will come into us. So again, I guess they just appear on New Earth. It's almost like projecting yourself there. It's not even almost, as we are projecting ourselves there. Carolyn, so will our animals on New Earth live forever? Me, they can, all of us, because again, we're energy, we do live forever. And they were laughing, we always live forever. A lot of us, for example, at some point will be ready to move on. We're just going to go have another experience. And maybe we'll go into another 3D planet where we pretend that, you know, we have so many limitations because it's nice. The contrast is nice. The contrast is what makes this interesting, right? And so for animals, it's the same way. If they're going to want to come hang out on your Earth, they'll project there. And then when they're done, they'll project somewhere else, really. And again, we explained, if they go to a planet where they have to be born through the body of a body or another body, then that's what they'll do. But we're still all just projecting when we move from one reality to the other. All right, I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed putting out this information. I do love connecting with the 25th. It was such a treat. And I want to thank you again for watching this video, and please take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.